Hey everyone, Michael back at you here on the Archangel 15. Very happy to share a special presentation for you. This one is called Asian History, the Mongolian Empire, and Chingis Khan. I want to start off by saying that this is by far the most difficult presentation to do in a couple of videos that I've ever brought to you. I've done an 11-hour Theory of Everything presentation series on this channel in the past, basically covering like everything as far as physics go, and this is much more difficult. When you start talking about various dynasties, uh, you could talk each one. You could talk maybe a day or two of video time. Like it just goes on and on and on. It never really ends. Like this is almost going to drive me crazy to not be able to do it in the true manner that it needs to be done. I want to present it in a special way that basically goes above and beyond what modern day academia teaches at various levels, high schools, colleges. This is information I've had to personally seek out to attain this information, and like it essentially is going to paint a bigger picture, the geological timeline, and like even alien agendas. If you're a fan of like the alien phenomena or ancient alien show, this is a lot of stuff that they don't even talk about. It may be very hard to stomach for some people, but those who know my channel know I have an emphatic love for Asian culture, specifically like Eastern medicine. It goes above and beyond anything that's taught even at like Harvard University or top level schools here. Stuff that like they knew thousands of years ago that just absolutely decimates Western medicine. And like you're going to start to kind of bridge the gap and just say, maybe there's a reason that we're so far behind their culture. And it's like I said, part of this alien engineering. I want to also start off like kind of incorporate this. Like there's definitely alien engineers that have been like behind the scenes for many thousands, maybe millions of years. There's like people talk about the tall white aliens, the gray aliens. When you study elongated cranial formations is where it really gets interesting. If you look at like the stereotypical alien skull, like kind of big cranium and then it like kind of centers down, like look at aliens or Asian skulls. I was at the Mutter Museum in Philadelphia. They really for I think University of Pennsylvania has it or something, and you can see like different skulls there, and like all people are not created equal. Like I mean, I know some people might not like to hear that, but it's like scientifically proven. Like everybody is uniquely and different, and there were like places where they found 11-foot tall remains of people. I really believe that like they were like supposedly those people ate too much and they were engineered down. I almost believe that like white people were like a genetic informality, and it like essentially that they like wanted to have white women for like sexual gratification of men, and like almost like a slave race or of sorts. I'm not going to go. Please don't stop watching. Keep watching. So, like I said, those who know my channel know I love Asian history. When I was in 10th grade, my history teacher showed me this chart. This is called the Histo Map. Can't really see it good here, but it has 4,000 years of recorded history, and it goes down and like basically shows the ebb and the flow of each civilization. And there's so many it just came and went, came and went, came and went. They got really big, and then they failed. And there's really like out of all the longest ones, there's only one that has spanned the entire history, and that's China. And then right next to China is Mongolia, and I really believe it's almost like a sin to separate China and Mongolian history, or like the two empires. They're really one and the same. And look at how many came. Okay, so here you have China, this red, and it goes the whole way. And then right next to it you have Mongolia, the yellow. And this was published by Rand McNally in the 30s. Kind of give acknowledgement to them. And like okay, so there's like the Greeks, Egyptians, the Aztecs, the Mayans, the Romans, and then like I said, it's amazing as you look at the USA, the United States, and it's like this small little smidgen of like 260, 270 years. And like they in American schools, they teach that like America's the biggest, the greatest, and there's nothing better. And like everybody's entitled to their opinion, but even this, it goes back further than 4,000 years. Recently, I wanted to take a trip to China. I had a nice trip planned. I wanted to go see the pandas, everything. And like the highlight of the trip for me was going to be to go to Xi'an. Xi'an is a very special city. They're constantly discovering more and more relics like reliquaries, all kinds of stuff, just ancient stuff that because they don't even know how old it is. And it's I didn't even know about the Chinese pyramids. Andrija Puharich, I was watching a presentation of him, the godfather of parapsychology. He was also very intrigued by the Chinese pyramids. Probably an amazing energy there. They recently just discovered a whole bunch of stuff near the airport. And unfortunately, China is going through a lot of issues right now. I've talked in the past about what I really believe is going on. As I talk, I'm just going to stop right here as well. Like I've been kind of censored. Like my views have been gained. I picked up a lot of new viewership, and I'm very thankful for that. But I really feel like it's very futile to keep going too much. And there's I see things boiling down in the very near future. I have like a real weird feeling about something that's about to occur. And I keep everybody in my prayers and hope for the best. So anyways, I want to mention, like I said, I also I want to do a point of acknowledgement bibliography. And the way I'm going to do this presentation, I'm going to start talking about all this Asian and Mongolian history, and then eventually I'm going to funnel into just Genghis Khan and Genghis Khan. There's different ways to pronounce it. And the persona of him is just absolutely amazing. I became infatuated recently with Mongolian history, and this book right here is there's about 650 pages, and it's like a whole 4-year bachelor's degree in one book, like in Asian studies, just in one book. It's called The Encyclopedia of Mongolia and the Mongol Empire by Christopher P. Atwood. And I'm going to reference it as we go through this with some pictures and various things that I want to talk about. Normally, I would wait till I was done all the books before I would do this, but the information is just so expansive that I have to bring a good bit of it to you now, or it's just going to be too much in the end, like I was saying. This book here I'm going to read, Genghis Khan, Emperor of All Men, by Harold Lamb. This one, Genghis Khan, His Conquest, His Empire, His Legacy, by Frank McLynn. Hopefully I can get through all of them and be able to do this in a timely manner. This is video 1. I don't know how many videos it's going to take me, but please stay with me. And like I said, you have to understand this notion of anthropology, how civilizations rise and fall, and what's the reason for them. And I talked about that in the past. Usually, basically trying to get too big, maybe the worship of other gods, various things. And at the peak of the Mongolian Empire, I mean, it was absolutely just expansive. I'm going to show you this. This is courtesy of Alternate History Wiki, Mongol Empire. But you can see here, all of China, all of India, all of the Middle East, north of Africa, and other places as well. I mean, it was essentially, I want to say it was 70 some percent of the geography of the world. And Russia's only lost to two people. Once was in Afghanistan. It's kind of like the Vietnam of Russia. And then also to the Mongols. And the Mongols were outnumbered 4-1 by the Russians. And they were able to overtake them. But I'm going to paint a bigger picture as to it was part of a bigger plan of sorts. And I'm going to mention this book does an amazing job of going through various lineages, dynasties, and they're all connected. Think back before borders, we have modern day borders, but years ago, the people were more worried about hunting and gathering and food. And there's also the Silk Road, which, if you understand, the Silk Road is an ancient trade route between China and pretty much all the way up until Europe to the Mediterranean, and along with trading merchandise, mainly it was silk and opium, probably various other things, probably people and genetics, and it was genetics filtered out. And I also talk a lot about the singularity and how basically everything in life as we know it evolved from a singularity, a single point in time. And I've done, in my 11-hour Theory of Everything presentation series, I talk about the singularity and the Caldasis and the symbolism, where the medical symbol with the 2 snakes that bind. Really deep there. I forget what video it is. But essentially, one thing leads to another thing, leads to another thing, leads to another thing. This is the basis for artificial intelligence and how it works. And how they can almost extrapolate things just based on what I'm telling you. It used to be really interesting to me. It's not so much now. Kind of gets into alchemy and people that have psychic abilities. But I'm going to mention here some of the names of the dynasties, and like I cannot take the time and go through each one. If you're interested in what I'm saying, please obtain a copy of this, or probably even better ones. But like I said, Mongolian history and Chinese history, Korean history, Japanese history, Tibetan history, Indian history. Like it gets into a whole bunch of other people as well. Like in Ukraine, the Mongols conquered Kiev, Ukraine, to like the year 1200. And there's like the Tatars, the Cossacks, the Bashkirs, like I said, the Persians, the Turks. It just like so many people incorporated into this. And like I said, Genghis Khan is absolutely a fascinating figure. He was basically like the first real gangster, and he's like there's like all this like stuff that's unknown about him. Supposedly he lived like 300 years. He lived 300 years old. Like people in the Bible used to live a lot longer, and like it's almost like there's stuff that's hidden about him. I really believe he was like a shaman, and almost like when he went into an area, like they would see the cloud formations that he would bring, and like other things as well. Or he would like almost like the movie The Men That Stare at Goats. Like he had some type of like a deeper like secret weapon of sorts that I've talked about. So I'm gonna name these. They're not in any special order. The one I want to like the Jia dynasty is very, very important. If you like don't know any, remember the other ones are important too. But like the Jia is where the Jian came from, and Xi Jinping in China and Asia. Many of the people, their last name is first to honor the dead. Just remember that their last name is first to honor their dead. It's like their surname. And the Jia dynasty, the Shang, the Zhou, the Qin, the Han, the Wei, the Shu, the Zhu, Yuan, the Li, Song, Tang, Yang, the Wu, Ming, and like forgive me, like I said, for butchering these names and not going in sequential order, but like that's just some of them. And to be honest with you, it's probably very contested between like what they teach here and like what they would teach in China as well. Just know that like not only that, but over time they morphed in like together. They intermarried and like blended various. They almost created new dynasties. And like I said, it goes back even before. They don't even know much information about it. And like I want to, that I have an emphatic love of my my Russian history, or my Russian culture and background. Done a lot of work there, various presentations. And like I'm gonna even tie this into that. I talked in the past about one of the most defining moments in my life was when I went to the Lenin Mausoleum recently in Moscow. Like the sun barely shined when I was there the whole entire trip in January, and when I went to there, like the sun just busted out, and it was like I felt like a major presence of sorts. And like they have like Stalin, Brezhnev, they like have like little figures, like a special area for them, but they have a whole mausoleum for Vladimir Ilyich Ulyanov. And like I totally get it now and understand. And like if you look at his face and figures, he was he had Mongol lineage, as does Putin. And like I said, it's like ties into other things as well. Like they're the group called the Cossacks from the Kazakhstan area. Kazakhstan's also a massive country. Mongolia, a huge country, very rich in resources. And I'm gonna get into like other stuff with the Hollow Earth theory as well. And like deeper here. So please stay with me. I know I'm like getting off on a tangent, but I've just been absolutely falling in love with Mongolian history. Everybody I've talked to from there, absolutely just amazing people. Really down to earth, really humble, not pretentious whatsoever. And like China, like has a major I guess economic inequality proportionate issue going on there. And like also know that a lot of the Asian people in America do not represent the broader sense of the Asian people as a whole. Like many, especially like where I am in like Washington D.C. area right now. I live in Pennsylvania, but I come here to visit my sister and her kid, Gabriel. But a lot of these people have worked against the Chinese. And I talked in the past about how like when the whole thing with Trump went down, he basically had procured 5 of the 12 imperial bloodlines, and like the other 7 would never have gone for this. Like China did not get to be the longest running civilization through the course of time by like selling out to people like him and other. Like I'm just gonna leave it at that. probably biting off more than I can chew here. But also like there's other things like even like Xi Jinping, his daughter, went to Harvard, and like it's just kind of interesting to me, like that that they have all this amazing history, and these people would still send their kids here, and it's like they've infiltrated this country from a long time ago, and America was a beautiful story up until slavery, and I would love to visit China someday. Give me I would actually have loved to do that before I did this. I could spend a lifetime, like I said, just studying all of this, and I still not know everything. That's how big it is, and like I was saying, at its peak, the Mongolian Empire was really second to none, and they really didn't fall apart, or like they really didn't go away. They essentially morphed into other things, and I've mentioned, like I said, the singularity and how like human consciousness all evolved from like one single point. I really believed that they essentially like almost embedded like a deeper, like a matrix, or like encoded program into like human consciousness that like went down and like basically like crossed with other people as time went on, and the importance here is like basically it all traces back to in Chinese imperial bloodlines. Like there's all these other people I would think it traces back to, like the Rothschilds and in the UK British monarchy. It's like almost like they wanted you to think that, and like it's like the real gods or the real alien engineers, or like allowing them to like have this, like they're the ones in the spotlight, and these people remain in the shadows. It's like from the earliest days they've been dancing essentially in the shadows. There's definitely alien agendas that are like at conflict with each other, almost like what we have going on now. Edward Snowden talked about this. He said that the tall whites and the grays, and he like when he went to Russia, this was not covered in the United States press corps whatsoever. And I said I encourage you to study the elongated cranial formation, and it gets deeper into like these two currents that I've talked about the yin and the yang. I've talked about this in the past. I don't mean to keep saying that, by the way, but like there's these two opposing forces that are like have to be in equal opposition to each other, like magnetism, like the yin and the yang, the male and the female energy, and like it's almost like they created or engineered all this current to exist, the conflict in the world, to like otherwise if we didn't have the current, like it's almost like the ebb and the flow of tides, we'd have stagnation, like a cesspool, and there would be like there would be no economy, there would be no news feeds, it'd be boring, it'd be like basically, and like you have Albert Pike in his book talked about Albert Pike was like almost like a prophet of sorts. He predicted the first two world wars to the T, and even who was going to be in them and who was going to win. But he said World War III, he did not know who the winner was going to be. He said it was going to be Islam against Judaism against Christianity, and he said unleash the nihilists. And like I really believe that it's like a lot of the Europeans and the United States that are really the nihilists. To be honest with you, I really believe that like if you look at the true tenets of Buddhism, they very much so believe in God, and like they get painted in America as like they're nihilistic evil people, and like a lot of the people even in China, like there's like different classes of people. Like you really can't compare the Chinese imperial people with like just the regular people, and they have a population of over 1 billion. And but yes, my analogy with the yin and the yang, it's almost like they created Islam or engineered Islam, and they engineered Christianity, and they engineered Judaism to like basically like I use another analogy as well. Like really what's going on here is this. Okay, if you ever seen the movie The Dark Knight, the bank heist scene with Heath Ledger, classic, like timeless, priceless in my opinion, like the absolute best of the Batman series. And there's a scene like where they rob the bank, and like this person kills this person, and at the very end, the Joker takes all the money and drives the bus away. And like that's really how smart the Chinese are. There's the book, The Art of War, and I've read this. This book was written thousands of years before Christ, or not 1,000 years before Christ, thousands of years ago, before the time of Christ, and there's like a prequel that they did to this book, and it talks about how Russia and China will never go to war with each other. Basically, like their genetics are so deeply embedded in their existence that they would never go to war with each other. Like I said, like if you're still with me, you maybe understand, like kind of tie together that like they engineered a lot more than they're getting that people know about. And like I said, it happened maybe on purpose. Maybe some of it happened, accidentally. But like everything in this life is diametrically opposed. Like I said, just remember that with the yin and the yang, and there's a reason why that's their symbolism. But like even to this day, if you look at the symbolism, or like at the peak, okay, so like basically like the Mongol Empire dissolved into the Soviet Union, and I have a couple pictures here that I want to share with you, and in this book. So you can see here, this is Vladimir Lenin meeting with various people from Mongolia, and like it shows him right in here meeting with people from Mongolia, and there was like at one point they wanted to make Russia the official language of Mongolia. Here's another one. Soviet ruler Leonid Brezhnev. He was like one of the longest running Soviet presidents. Brezhnev, I actually have a friend, I believe, that has lineage to his, ancestry to him. Meeting with Umagajin Tesnebol, and this guy was like president of Mongolia for 50 years. There's Brezhnev, and there's Tesnebol. And like I said, they were very, very much tied together. And if you look at how many countries were flying the hammer and sickle at the peak of the Soviet Union, it really, really puts everything in a perspective. Even China today, China's Secret Service, State Security of China, courtesy of Wiki, you can see they still use the hammer and sickle. And I have a presentation I did in the past on Terminator 2 and deeper symbolism embedded into that. But essentially, Mongolia is the Ukraine of China. Like it was like they separated it on purpose to like make it not look so obvious, or for various reasons. And after the Bolshevik Revolution, around between like the late 20s and 30s, Vladimir Lenin separated the former Soviet republics on purpose. And Ukraine was a big one of them. And like there's definitely like alien stuff going on in Ukraine. Ukraine's very special in its own right. I'm not going to get too much into that. That's not the heart of this presentation. But like if you look, like all these, there's many other countries: Kazakhstan, Georgia, Armenia, Azerbaijan, Turkey. It goes on and on and on. Even parts of Poland, Belarus, Slovakia, Czechoslovakia, Slovenia. Like almost all these countries either spoke or speak Russian today, or their alphabet is like basically within 60% of the Cyrillic alphabet that's still used by the Russians. And they don't teach this in schools. And I've traveled to these countries, and these people they speak Russian. Ukraine has like a different dialect. Kiev is like the old world of Russia before it predates Moscow. And then there's another place called Sergei Posad. I did pass stuff on, but I've talked also about the Hollow Earth in the past, and like the Hollow Earth aliens supposedly. I'm not going to go too deep into that, but like essentially once the United States started detonating thermonuclear devices, like these people had to make themselves known, and they warned everybody. They basically, there was this Admiral Richard Byrd. He did this famous expedition to like the North Pole or something like that, and supposedly at the poles there's like this entrance into the Hollow Earth. Supposedly other people have said that there's like utopias there where there's actually still prehistoric beasts and like dinosaurs that live there. And this guy went there, and he was encountered by these UFOs that had swastikas on them. And the swastika is like an ancient symbol That means it's sort of like the yin and the yang. It means rotating energy or rotating forces. And depending on which way it is, it means like good energy or bad energy. And it has nothing to do with Nazis, nothing to do with Hitler. It goes back thousands and thousands of years ago. And it was first actually found in Ukraine, one that they believe dated back 9,000 years ago. And like I said, it shows up in architecture and history all around the world. Not even debatable. It's like proven. And this guy, Richard Byrd, went there, and he was encountered by him, and he was spoken to by essentially like these, like through telepathy, they would just talk to, and they told him exactly what I was saying. That like stop evolving your nuclear warfare programs and everything else. And like it's actually come out in time, or in the past, that they actually had. My grandfather worked to break Japanese code, and it actually has come out that I didn't find this out from him, that they had it broken and could have thwarted the attacks at Pearl Harbor, but allowed it to happen so that the military-industrial complex could further expand the Manhattan Project and their building of the nuclear arsenal, which like essentially these aliens intertwined, intermarried, interbred with the Russians, the Chinese, and others, some of the Muslims, and basically evolved the best military weapons. And I have a recent presentation I did on that Russian military technology versus the United States. Not even comparable. Or like actually show video footage, like not even like debunking the whole thing. And like you can't buy stock in the Russian military industrial complex. It's like for employees only. I'm just gonna leave it at that. And so this guy, Richard Byrd, I'm sorry to keep going back and forth. He came back. They gave him a ticker tape parade in Manhattan for his work. And then he started talking and more about what he saw and everything, and they tried to convince him he was crazy. They tried to tell him, like, dude, like, you didn't really, whatever. They had him see a psychologist, and he was a decorated admiral, and they realized that they couldn't do that. So they basically just shut him up. This book, I actually read it, the Lost Diary, it's called, and it's really, 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 really intriguing. I'm not going to do a separate presentation just on that, but please check it out if you're interested. There's very few resources on the internet with it, but in this book it talks about that there's several portals to this hollow earth throughout the world where like these aliens, I guess, come out. And like I'm not talking about like it shows like on there like man-made bunkers, and then it shows even below that, and supposedly like at the core of the earth the mountains go like straight up. They're like massive mountains and other things. But if you look at Genghis Khan, where he was from the lake, like northern Mongolia, Lake Baikal region, and I really believe that Lake Baikal is the deepest lake in the world, and it's also like supposedly there's like legends that's where the Loch Ness monster is from, and I really believe that there's like a portal to the hollow earth in there, and that like he had secret information, or he was like an alien, or Genghis Khan was like an alien. And by the way, like I said, I say Genghis Khan, Chinggis Khan. A lot of the famous Chinese people, they have the Chen dynasty or Cheng dynasty. You hear that very, very commonly, and that's where a lot of that came from as well. It was around the 1200s, and like the whole thing with the Mongolian history goes back even past that. I'm going to stop here soon and start part 2 of this presentation series. Again, I'm very sorry for making this very choppy. Please stay with me throughout all of this. Eventually, I'm going to go further into Genghis Khan. I highly encourage you, if you're interested in what I'm talking about, to further do research for yourself on the Mongolian Empire, ancient Chinese imperial bloodlines, and so forth. And like I said, understand the deeper alien agenda or alien engineers behind the scenes. Like I said, there was like 11-foot tall people that I really believe that the Chinese or Asian people engineered, and they knew that they ate too much and they were like not good for civilization, so they like engineered them down, and that like white people are almost like the offspring of like an informality of some sorts, maybe. I don't know, maybe like the blue eyes came somewhere. It's very debatable. I'm not going to get too deep into it. Maybe there's aliens from various other planets that came here into this country. And I almost believe that they engineered the whole personification of Jesus Christ. Like they they knew that like how prophecy worked, and they knew that certain bloodlines could manifest prophecy, and they like set it up this way on purpose for like a much bigger plan. So just sit on that for a minute, and I'll see you at part 2 of Asian history, Mongolia, the Mongolian Empire, and Genghis Khan. Thanks for your time, folks.